Morning, everyone. It is my honor to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Sal Selly, a visionary leader with over 30 years of extraordinary achievements across technology, sales, and consulting. Having held leadership roles with global giants like Oracle, Informatica, and Dell Technologies, Mr. Selly is known for driving growth, building high performing teams, and mentoring professionals worldwide. He holds an MBA from Dalhousie University with advanced studies from Cornell, MIT, and Stanford, focusing on leadership, strategy, and cybersecurity. Beyond his corporate success, he is a thought leader, an author, a podcaster, and mentor, inspiring professionals across industries to lead more fulfilling lives. Currently residing in Austin, Texas, Mr. Selly continues to shape the future as a strategic advisor, angel investor, and mentor, collaborating with leading organizations, startups, and global systems integrators such as Deloitte, Accenture, TCS, Wipro, and HCL. As the founder of MaximizeU.life, which is an AI powered platform designed to help individuals and organizations unlock their full potential, Mr. Selly is a passionate advocate for maximizing customer value and fostering human talent. Today, we are fortunate to hear from Mr. Selly as he shares his deep insights cultivated through a lifetime of global experiences and unwavering dedication to excellence. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Sal Selly with a big round of applause.
Thank you all. Dr. Chaco, thank you for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts and also to speak to the audience. Can you all hear me okay?
They
Is
can
it
hear
coming
you.
out
They can
clear?
hear you, Sal. They can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to share my screen. I have a few slides that I want to go over. Okay, but feel free to stop me at any point in time. Just so that it goes smoothly. What we will do is uh, let me know if you can see the slides.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I have about 40 minutes. What I will request you to do is please hold your questions till I complete, and that way we can cover all of them at one time. So I encourage you to ask questions because this is a very interesting topic. But let's hold them till the end, and I will make sure I give enough time for the question. So really excited, and again, thank you all. I was there a few months ago at your campus, and this time around was wanting to do it virtually. So I'm going to talk about building a global career, insights on leadership and sustaining high performance in a digital age. A very interesting topic. So let's talk about this for a moment, right? Global career. The digital age has made traditional boundaries of geography and countries and regions obsolete. Today, we are all operating in an environment where technology has enabled all of us to work together irrespective of geographical boundaries, right? As an example, right, I'm in Austin, Texas, you all are in Bangalore, India, and we're all collaborating and having a live session. So this is really important. We need to change our mindset from focusing on local region specific career to more of a global digital career. So I'm going to drill into this and talk a little about what are some of the key characteristics of the digital age, right? We talk about being in the digital age. What does that mean? And because of these key characteristics, there are going to be leadership requirements that are needed from employees and managers and leaders to really capitalize on some of the opportunities. So let's drill into that. The first thing is we are witnessing constant change because of technologies, because of innovation, because of transformation. The only thing that is constant is change. There is increased volatility in the markets, volatility of business models. There's increasing uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. We call it the VUCA world. Okay, so VUCA is what stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. There is also increasing need for speed and agility. If you are not fast, you're going to die, right? So these are situations that require us as leaders to have a different mindset that encourages speed over cost, right? Uh, we all know about every organization is wanting to transform digitally. They are creating new business models and they're regularly and continuously innovating. They are creating blue oceans of opportunity instead of fighting in the crowded red ocean. And I'll talk a little about this because we all know of cases like Kodak, like Blockbuster, like so many other organizations that are no longer present today because they failed to leverage technology to transform, right? Blockbuster, as some of you all will remember, used to have videos that could be borrowed at stores and outlets. And about 20 years ago, they had the opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million and they decided against that. And everybody knows what happened, right? Blockbuster's no longer there. Netflix is obviously taken over. Same thing applied to Kodak, right? Kodak, as you all know, had uh, films, right? The traditional print for photography, but they were the ones who originally created the digital camera, but they failed to capitalize on that. And now we all know that Kodak is languishing. So because of the digital age and because of the innovation and the availability of the technology, organizations are constantly redefining themselves and continuing to change. Okay. Uh, there is a critical impact of ABCs, right? AI, Dr. Matthew talked a little about how AI and generative AI is redefining all kinds of business functions, HR, sales, operations, supply chain, etc. So there's a big impact of that. Data is the new oil. It's all about having a clean, comprehensive, trusted data platform, which can then enable you as a business to really hone in on your customers and enable transformation. And of course, cloud, right? We all know about what is happening today. Organizations are moving from on-premise infrastructure to the cloud, not just the public cloud, but private cloud and hybrid clouds. So it's very important for us to understand the impact of all these technologies and how we can leverage them. It is no longer, IT is no longer a cost center. It is integral to the business. And it's not just the IT department's job, it's everybody's job to understand what the technology is and how we can leverage it to increase customer satisfaction, reduce cost, improve business processes, and increase efficiency. Another area and a characteristic of the digital age is that we have cross-functional, dispersed, inclusive, diverse, and demanding virtual teams, right? Gone are the days where work was a location. You would not need to go to work or go to the office. Today, you can work from anywhere in any location at any time. You set the hours. As long as you deliver what is expected of you, it's fine. So because of this change of work as a outcome rather than a location, and people being spread out across the world, there is a need for a new mindset for leaders. And we'll talk a little about that. The fifth area and the characteristic is very important. It is democratization of data, explosion of information, and social media. Today, there is an information overload, right? You have search engines, you have open AI models like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and so on. The question is not where do you find the information? The question is how do you find the right information quickly? There is an abundance of data and an abundance of information rather than a scarcity. So, how do we change in this new mindset and this new world where we are full of data? But the question is, how can you leverage the data to create actionable insights? When you talk about customers, customers are increasingly demanding. They want everything on their terms at the click of a button immediately. I was just reading a very interesting article on Amazon, and they're doing the same day service. So think about that. If I'm sitting in Austin, Texas, and I place an order on Amazon in the morning, before the end of the day, I receive my product. So customers are expecting speed and delivery on their terms. There is also a need for complete trust, transparency, authenticity, ethics, data privacy, and security. We have all heard about all the cyber attacks that are impacting businesses of all sizes and shapes and industries. It's very, very important that we safeguard our critical assets, which is information and data, and we do that in a transparent way and in an ethical way and in a secure way. Last but not the least important characteristic is mass customization and personalization, right? As the earlier speaker, Dr. Matthews, mentioned, just because you are an employee doesn't mean that you need to have the same training that every other employee has. It's the question, everybody has different needs and different requirements, so you should be able to customize what is suitable to each person. So these are some key characteristics of the digital age. Now, let's drill into, as a result of this, what are some leadership challenges? As we know, a challenge is also an opportunity. And that's the mindset we have to have if in order to build a global career and to have a sustainable high potential in the digital age. So what are some of these challenges? The first challenge is employees are feeling that they are deficient in their skill sets and they're always trying to play catch up. And this is very relevant in the technology industry. Every couple of months, new things are coming up. People need to constantly stay abreast of what's happening. They need to reskill themselves. They need to constantly upgrade and be aware of what's happening. And many people feel that they are not skilled enough, but that presents a great opportunity because today you have so much available. The question is, do you want to upgrade and do you want to invest in getting better? And if you do, you can, right? So the need to catch up creates pressure for people, right? As a result, there are a lot of employees today that are suffering from anxiety and stress and depression and high turnover, lost productivity due to sick days, and that negatively impacts the business. So that's definitely an area where you need to have a balance. There are also outdated mindsets that need to change. The old hierarchical structure of command and control, and you have to do this because I'm your boss and I'm telling you, is no longer going to work. There is a need for decentralization, there is a need for listening more, and it doesn't matter where you are in the organization, everybody should behave as a leader and everybody should contribute. Sometimes the best ideas for a business come from not the C suite, but the people who are front and center interacting with their customers. So we need to get rid of blind spots that cloud our perspective. That's a pun, right? Because we talked about the cloud, but those blind spots need to change. And we'll talk a little about that. And then there are some tensions that threaten trust and create conflict. So those are very, very important things, and they create inertia. We must not be an organization that is slow to respond, that is rigid, operates in silos. Speed, the ability to change, and constantly innovate are critical factors. So let's drill into that. So there are some effective mindsets that need to be ingested, cultivated, and developed across the organization. How do you do that? As a leader, you can hire the right people, you can invest in your existing people, and you can encourage them to continue to evolve and develop. There are four effective leadership mindsets which we should talk about, which are very, very important. The producer mindset, the investor mindset, the connector mindset, and the explorer mindset. 30 years ago, we didn't need all this because we were not in the digital age. Today, because of the characteristics of the digital age that we talked about, having these mindsets are very, very critical. So let's drill into that. What does the producer mindset do? They are focused on outcomes. They are focused on customers and analytics, and they engage in data-driven decision making. It's all about execution. It's all about producing the numbers, right? You can have the best product, you can have the best technology, but ultimately, if nobody buys it, it doesn't matter. So that's the producer. The connector is the person that recognizes the need for collaboration and community and building the network and having those relationships and strengthening connectivity. This is not only within the organization, but it is also outside the organization with all stakeholders. The concept of cooptation, right? Because earlier on, if you were a competitor, you would not work with the other company. But now competitors are collaborating together. It is all about connection. Number three, the investor. The investor mindset is somebody that is not only looking at short term, but also the long term orientation. They are not just looking at profitability, but they are looking at how can we do the right things for all stakeholders. How can we make sure that the why is stronger than the how? How do we align the purpose, the principles, and the profits, right? It's no longer just maximizing profits for the organization. You need to have a vision that is stronger and larger than that. The need is important to inspire and authentic and be willing to take risks and fail fast. So that's the investor mindset. Last but not the least is the explorer mindset. This is somebody that is constantly curious, is creative, is questioning the status quo, somebody that thrives in ambiguity, because we are living in ambiguous times. So, how do you not just embrace it, but thrive in ambiguity? And how do you build a culture of continuous innovation, experimentation, and reverse mentoring? What do I mean by that? In the past, it was believed that in a mentor and mentee relationship, only the mentee is benefiting, but that's not true. As I mentioned, it's a two-way street, right? And some of the best ideas come from the least expected places, but you need to be open to that, right? You need to be humble and engage and ask for help, irrespective of where you are in the organization. So these are four important mindsets that uh, need to be engaged and developed within the organization. Let's talk a little about the blind spots that can negatively impact high performance in the digital age. The first blind spot is strategic, right? We need to make sure that we are constantly reinventing the organization, reinventing the employees, the skill sets, so that we can stay relevant. The worst thing you can do is become very efficient at executing the wrong strategy. I gave you some examples of how people did that, right? When Uber started, nobody thought that they are going to be successful, right? But they made the yellow cabs in New York completely redundant because they transformed an old business model. There are so many examples of that. You need to have a culture and develop a culture that is open, that is egalitarian, right? Where it doesn't matter who the boss is and where you are in the hierarchy. You should be willing and open and focus on servant leadership, right? What does that mean? That means putting the other person first and focusing on key relationships. It's very important that you need to be technology savvy, right? Everybody in the organization needs to understand that, irrespective of your role, because the technology is now integral to the business. Every company is a technology company at the end of the day because of the way they are working with technology. Human capital, very, very important. Organizations are realizing this. People first, products and profits later, right? Investing in the people, investing in the employees, investing in their well being, because that is critical. Because of the information overload, because of the 24/7 work culture, because of constantly being in touch, whether it is on Slack or Teams or Messenger, it's very, very important. People are losing the boundaries between work and life and home and office. And that can cause a lot of stress and burnout. So it's important that organizations invest in the human capital and in the balance and well being of their employees. That's what we do at MaximizeU.life as well. And the other blind spot is the personal blind spot, right? We need to be open to have a diverse and inclusive work employee base. If you hire everybody who thinks just like you do, you're going to fail. You need to surround yourself with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, different upbringings, because they are the ones that bring new perspectives and new thought patterns. And that will enable you to be agile and focus and move quickly. We talked about ethics, very, very important. In the digital age, it is critical that you are transparent, you share information openly, you do things with high ethics and integrity. Otherwise, you're going to be in a mess. And we've all seen all the different scandals that have happened because people have tried to do the wrong thing. Last but not the least, it is critical that we operate at a high level and a low level simultaneously. What does that mean? That means you need to be able to focus on the big picture and go into the details. The devil is in the details. It is very important for you to know and go deep into whatever you're suggesting, right? It's no longer enough to be an inch deep and a mile wide. That's no longer enough. You need to be able to go deep into your focus area. So these are some leadership blind spots that we need to be aware of in the digital age so that we can leverage the technology and continue to grow. Coming to the tensions, right? There are some inherent tensions that we need to address so that we can maximize the potential of our people, maximize the potential of our organizations, and transform. What are some of these tensions? Digitization and humanization, right? Yes, the technology is there. Yes, there's AI. Yes, there's Gen AI. But that doesn't mean that the human aspect is going to go away. We need to make sure that the human element is always there. The digitization can supplement and improve things for the human, but the goal is not to replace the human. There is also a tension between the need for speed and to move quickly, but also to be deliberate and learn from our mistakes. So there's a balance that we need to follow. There is an inherent conflict between using analytics or depending on our own intuition and our experience. Very important. Just because you have the software doesn't mean that you don't have to use your own mind, right? So very important to handle that tension. And then the last is purpose and profits. Yes, we want to generate profits, but we also need to make sure that we are meeting the needs of all stakeholders. What is our purpose? It has to be bigger than just making money. And that's where organizations who are doing things for the environment, for their communities, for their societies, for the planet, are doing things, and they're growing and they're doing extremely well. So the why needs to be stronger than the how. So these are some key tensions that we need to be able to address. We're coming to the end of the presentation, and then we will have time for some questions and answers. But to summarize this, the digital age requires us to focus on the 3 E's, right? We need to make sure that some old leadership behaviors that are eroding, we need to give up, right? So what are those eroding behaviors? The top-down, hierarchical, centralized command and control mindset, where only the top person knew everything and the rest of the folks just had to follow what they said, is no longer valid. So we need to let that go. We need to give that up because it erodes value and contribution. The other thing is, traditionally, we have in the past used money and promotions to dangle carrots in front of employees. Today, not everybody is motivated by that. There are other factors that are important, like work-life balance, like positively impacting the environment, the community. So you need to understand what drives people. So those are some of the things that we need to let go of. Those are the eroding behaviors. The enduring behaviors are leadership characteristics that worked in the past and continue to work. Things like being ethical, things like operating on high integrity, having empathy, focusing on the other person, operating with trust and integrity and transparency, being responsible. These are leadership behaviors that always existed in the past and will continue to exist and be important even in the digital age. And that's why those are enduring characteristics. The third E is where we talk about emerging. These are the new attributes of effective leadership, like being digital savvy, understanding how AI and machine learning and the cloud and data platforms are going to have the potential to transform our business into new operating models. The ability to leverage collaboration tools, right? And work collaboratively and build those relationships and make sure that your network is your net worth. Those are some critical emerging leadership characteristics that we need to adopt. So those are the three E's: the eroding ones, the enduring ones, and the emerging ones. And the key is to cultivate emerging behaviors, combine them with the enduring ones, and proactively shed out or get rid of the eroding behaviors. Okay, so how do we do that, right? We talked about the need for organizations to invest in the well-being and in their human capital. Uh, you can check out maximizeyou.life. We are doing that for organizations. These are some of the key ways in which we do that. We have assessments, we have coaching, we have different content, courses, events, and so much more. The responsibility to manage your career is your own. Nobody's going to do that for you. In the digital age, you have a lot of opportunity to constantly improve and invest in yourself and be flexible and adaptable. Nobody's going to manage that for you better than you yourself. And all you need to do is to have the will. The rest is available. So with that, I want to thank you all, and I am happy to take questions. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hi.
Uh, I had a question regarding the servant leadership, which you mentioned that in which we keep others in front and help them to, grow in their respective fields. So,
Yeah.
does it also affect our competitive advantage? Does it help our own growth in industry? How would you put that?
Yeah, great question. The key is when you focus on the other person, right, and their needs, that is what is required. Whether it is the customer, whether it is the employee, whether it is the stakeholder, that is what is important. I'm not saying that that you need to harm yourself. The question is of prioritization. Put the other person first. In helping them achieve their goals, you yourself will achieve your goals, right? But the question is, what do you and who do you put first?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Sure. Good question. Any other questions?
Uh, Good morning, sir. So my
Good
question
morning.
is regarding same servant leadership, but then it's a very bureaucratic world where even recent research papers state that it's not very practical to bring up. transformation leadership in the first place. So, how do you think that servant leadership can be practically implied in organizations?
Yeah, a good question again. You see, because of the digital age today, people have choices. There is ample choice today. If you're not serving the needs of your stakeholders, they will go elsewhere. It is very easy. The switching costs are very low. If you think about your customers, they have so many options today. If you're not putting them first, they will go to your competition. Same thing applies to your employees. There are many options today for employees, right? If their boss is not treating them well, or the organization is putting too much pressure, or they are not investing in them, they're not going to stay. They have options, they will leave. So, because of so many options and choices, it is imperative that we put the other person's interest first. And that's what I mean by servant leadership. Hope that answers your question.
Any more questions?
Any, yeah, any other questions?
No more questions, Sal. I just want to thank you for. I must agree. I think the HR team will agree. You were the first. The Maximize. You were the first ones to agree that yes, you will be partnering with us for the international conference, and you will also take sessions. A big thank you from our end to you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.